You don't need to raise your voice to be respected. You don't need excuses to protect your time. And you definitely don't need to feel guilty for saying no. The Stoics figured this out 2,000 years ago. And today, I'll show you how to say no in a way that makes people respect you more, not less. Most people fail at saying no for one simple reason. They think kindness means compliance. So they over-explain. They apologize too much. They soften their words until their boundaries disappear. Stoicism teaches the opposite. A Stoic no is calm, precise, emotionless, final. No anger. No guilt. No need to dominate or submit. In this video, you'll learn why people fear saying no. The Stoic psychology behind boundaries. Exact phrases Stoics would use today. How to say no to friends, family, coworkers, and manipulators. And how to become someone whose no is never questioned. Watch carefully. Because once you understand this, your entire social dynamic changes. Why saying no feels so hard? Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. You don't struggle to say no because you're nice. You struggle because you're afraid. Afraid of disappointing people. Being disliked. Looking selfish. Creating conflict. The Stoics had a name for this. Living for the approval of others. Epictetus warned, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In modern terms. If you want peace, accept that some people won't like your boundaries. Here's the paradox. The more you say yes when you want to say no, the less people respect you. People don't admire availability. They admire self-command. Stoic principle number 1, control what is yours. The foundation of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to you. Your choices. Your words. Your time. Your energy. Some things are not. Other people's reactions. Their opinions. Their emotions. Most people say yes because they're trying to control what isn't theirs. A Stoic says no because my time belongs to me. Marcus Aurelius wrote. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say. Read that again. If your life is finite, why are you giving your hours away out of fear? Saying no is not rejection. It's allocation. Here's where most people mess this up. They think Stoicism means being cold or harsh. Wrong. Stoicism is not cruelty. It's clarity without emotion. A weak person says, I'm sorry, I really wish I could, but maybe next time. A rude person says, no. Don't ask me again. A Stoic says, I can't commit to that. Notice the difference. No apology. No explanation. No hostility. Just fact. Stoics understood something modern psychology confirms. The more you explain, the more negotiable your boundary becomes. Stoic rule number 1. Never over-explain. Over-explaining is a form of submission. When you say, I can't because I'm tired, busy, stressed, broke, overwhelmed. You're silently saying, if my situation were different, you'd be allowed to override me. A Stoic doesn't argue with reality. Instead, they speak briefly and finally. Examples. That doesn't work for me. I'm not available for that. I've decided not to. That's it. Silence afterward is power. Stoic rule number 2, remove emotion from the no. People think tone is everything. Stoics knew better. Emotion invites manipulation. If your voice shakes, people push. If you sound guilty, people negotiate. If you sound angry, people resist. The Stoic voice is neutral, slow, unbothered. Imagine a judge reading a verdict. No drama. No personal energy invested. This is why Stoics were feared and respected at the same time. Why Stoic no creates respect. Here's what happens psychologically when you say no calmly. People realize you are not easily moved. They sense internal authority. They stop testing your limits. Most people test boundaries unconsciously. A Stoic fails their test immediately. Not aggressively. Not defensively. But decisively. And once people know your no is real, they stop asking. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Respect yourself enough to say no to what doesn't serve you." Paraphrased. But aligned with his meditations. Self-respect is invisible, but people feel it instantly. You cannot demand respect. You demonstrate it. Every time you betray your own limits. You train others to do the same. Stoicism is not about controlling others. It's about never abandoning yourself. Before we jump into situations, you need the Stoic structure behind every refusal. Every Stoic no follows 3 invisible rules. Statement, not explanation. Calm delivery. No follow-up justification. Most people fail at step 3. They say no. Then talk themselves into a yes. A Stoic never does this. Once a boundary is spoken, it becomes reality, not a topic. Think of it this way, you're not asking permission to refuse. You're informing. Keycap 10 How to say no to friends. Friends are often the hardest. Why? Because emotional history creates guilt leverage. Friends say things like, "Come on, just this once. You used to do this. Don't be like that." A non-Stoic reacts emotionally. A Stoic responds consistently. Weak response. "I'm really tired and I've had a long week." Stoic response. "I'm not up for that." Pause. Silence. If they push, I've already decided. That's it. Epictetus warned. If you wish to be respected, respect your own decisions. True friends adjust. Users disappear. Both outcomes are wins. How to say no to family. Family uses obligation, not logic. They don't ask. They expect. Stoicism doesn't mean rebellion. It means adult boundaries. Key Stoic rule here. Be respectful, but immovable. Stoic family phrases. "I won't be able to do that. That doesn't work for me anymore. I've chosen differently." Notice what's missing. No debate. No apology. No childhood energy. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. And still wrote about saying no to people he loved. Love does not require self-betrayal. How to say no at work, 55:00, 1 hour and 2 minutes. This is where Stoicism shines. At work, emotional reactions are punished. Calm authority is rewarded. Weak employee. "I'll try my best. I'm a bit overloaded though." Stoic professional. "I don't have capacity for that." That's not lazy. That's clear communication. If your boss pushes, which priority should this replace? Now they must decide. Stoics don't absorb chaos. They redirect responsibility. This alone can change your career trajectory. How Stoics handle pushback. Pushback is a test. People are unconsciously asking, "Can I move you?" Stoics answer without words. Pushback tactic number 1, repeat, don't escalate. "I'm not available for that." Say it again. Same tone. Same words. Pushback tactic number 2, delay without weakening. "I won't be reconsidering." Pushback tactic number 3, exit. I'm going to step away now. Stoics knew. Engagement fuels pressure. Silence kills it. How to shut down manipulators. Manipulators hate Stoics. Why? Because Stoics give them nothing to grab. Manipulators use guilt, urgency, flattery, fear. A Stoic uses neutral refusal. Manipulator, if you really cared, you would help. Stoic. I understand you feel that way. And then, nothing. No defense. No argument. No explanation. You acknowledged emotion. But you didn't surrender control. This is psychological judo. The Stoic power of silence. Here's a secret most people never learn. After you say no, stop talking. Silence does 3 things. It forces the other person to react. It signals certainty. It removes negotiation space. Marcus Aurelius practiced silence constantly. He wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." Silence after no is not awkward. It's authoritative. Why Stoics never feel guilty? Guilt comes from one belief. I am responsible for other people's feelings. Stoics rejected this completely. You are responsible for your actions, your integrity, your character. You are not responsible for how others feel about your boundaries, their disappointment, their expectations. Once you accept this, guilt dissolves. Not through force, but through understanding. This is where everything changes. You stop thinking, how do I say no? And start thinking, I am someone who chooses deliberately. When you become that person, people ask less. Pressure fades. Respect rises. You don't need tricks. You need identity alignment. Stoicism isn't about techniques. It's about becoming unmovable inside. Seneca said, "He who lives for others is a slave." Harsh, but true. A Stoic does not live against others. But they never live for others either. Your no is not aggression. It is self-command. And the world always respects self-command. If this video helped you understand the power of calm boundaries, subscribe to the Silent Empire. Here, we don't teach motivation. We teach mastery. Comment below. Backhand index pointing right. What situation do you need to say no to, but haven't yet? And remember, you don't need permission to protect your life. You just need the courage to be calm.